Hello campers, and welcome back to my Albion Tour videos. This is video number 2, and we went off the map. And so we set out to tour Albion and decided to go to Scotland, which is off the map. Anything north of Hadrian's Wall is off my map. And so we basically set off without a plan, without any idea of where we're going. And first port of call, after travelling along the back of Aries, was to go and see my brother because it was his birthday. And then from there, we had a choice of going north or south, basically. And we chose north. So we decided to then stop over at Berwick-upon-Tweed, and I got some interesting pictures of Berwick-upon-Tweed. I mean, really, this video is going to be a total mixed bag of everything that I've been looking at, everything that's in my head, and I think, probably went off to go and clear my head. And so we found ourselves parked up overnight outside, or just in front of, just to the north of, Bastion number 2 at Berwick-upon-Tweed. And as you can see from the pictures here, Bastion 2 is just a typical bastion at Berwick-upon-Tweed. It's a complete one. Out of the 5, I believe Bastion number 1 and Bastion number 5 have actually been cut in half now. That's where I believe that is. So let's just have a quick look. So we've got 17 metres on the short side and 76 metres on the long side. And from the rear of the sluice chambers on Bastion 2 to Bastion 3, that's 200 metres, and again from Bastion 2 to Bastion 1, 200 metres. And on previous videos I've told you that between 3 and 4 it's 250 metres, and 4 and 5 it's another 250 metres. And so yeah, it's all very, very large when you come and look at it. And so here in Berwick, I sent the drone up to have a sort of look round. So this is basically going vertically straight up above the motorhome, and we see there Bastion 3 in front of us, and this wonderful example of a Cromwellian church, as I was told on my first visit to Berwick, where I fell about laughing, and the poor woman thought I was having some sort of a fit. But yeah, this is basically early morning, Sunday morning over Berwick. And as we pan round, we'll see the far side of Berwick and the River Tweed, which runs just south of the town of Berwick. And we come to the 2 road bridges. And so I took some nice little bits of photography down there, just on the shorefront there. And like I said in my previous videos in my Starfort series, this first bridge, that is the old road bridge over the Tweed, leaves absolutely no space for any boats to get under. It's out of the 15 arches I think that there is there. You can only really get under arch number 13, 14 and 15, 14 being the largest one, which is on the right of this picture now as we look at it. But you're certainly not going to get anything with a sail, with a mast on, underneath there at all. So this then becomes taxation for the River Tweed, I suppose, because anything that needs to go up the Tweed has to be unloaded at Berwick and then even if they just transport it around the bridge or put onto a barge to go under the bridge, that's the only way you're going to get any further upstream on the River Tweed. And this is really where I've got a problem with Berwick-upon-Tweed. And if I pan over now, and I'm going to zoom in on the wall here. So this is basically like at the back of the quay side of the dock. This is the wall, and we're told that this is part of the wall of Berwick, which fair enough, until we go and compare it to the wall on the other side of Berwick. And the quality of the stone and the build and everything on that wall, which I believe is far older, is just far more superior than that on the dock side. And this is constantly my issue with Berwick. There is just so much false narrative being put in there and shown to us as fact, as history. And so as we sweep on our a glide over Berwick, or our rotation of Berwick, and here we can see now this is then Bastion 2 at the bottom of the picture and Bastion 1 at the top of the picture. That's as I say, that's 200 meters from the back of the sluice. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with what I'm talking about here, the sluice, there are sluice gates at the back end of the bastions, and now you can see this as a little green area just south of the car park on this picture as well, sort of below the car park on this picture, and there are windows there. Now, if you read and believe the narrative that you're being told, these were secret windows for secret guns to basically, because it's a bastion fort, we're told that these are designed so that they're impregnable. You know, you cannot get anywhere near the wall. But if you do, then we're going to put some secret guns at the back to fire at people. And to be honest, I mean, you've got to look at it with childlike eyes, really, because only the child mind can see through this rubbish, because everyone else buys it. But if you fired a cannon out of the window that they're telling us is a secret window for the secret guns, the only thing you're going to hit is the other bastion that's directly in front of you. Okay, it's 200 meters away in this case, or 250 on the east wall of Berwick, but that's what you're aiming at. And what madness is that, really? When you look at the actual windows themselves and you actually look and think about it, you will see that they are not windows for guns, but in fact a sluice. This is where water pours out. So these bastions are pump houses for the water. And so on this picture where the car park is, I'm saying that this is a reservoir. And if we take a quick look back at the wall where I'm parked in front of, you can see there's a ridge. It's about halfway up the camper van on this picture, if not near the top. This ridge is level all the way along the north wall of Berwick. And this, I believe, is a visual water level sign. You can see that from the top of the wall, all you do is you look down, you can see the ridge. If the water's below that ridge, you know you've not got enough water in that reservoir, and so it needs filling up. It's as simple as that. And the car park is obviously, I would say, filled in. And I said that the width between the wall, this wall here running between Bastion 1 and 2, if you measured perpendicularly out 75 meters, you will find another wall, which was the back end of the reservoir. And so it's 75 meters wide at its widest point. And notice here that I am using meters, and I will continue to use meters because these things are built in meters. not in feet and inches, but in meters. And the distance between them, as the crow flies, you will find are in multiples of half kilometers. But that's another point. Go back, watch my Starfoot videos. I think 8 and 9, or even 7, and video 1 all cover Berwick. Very interesting if you've never been. I found it very fascinating on my first trip. And as we spin round again some more, we can see, well, there's the 2 road bridges there, and then there's the railway bridge, and this is from the railway station, which stands on the site of the old castle, which has just sort of basically totally been removed. And like I say, it's a railway station. I think they show that there's another wall that goes from, arcs round from the railway station round to bastion number 3, but to me this is an additional thing that they've, like, you know, storyline that they're just feeding us. And yeah, cows and toilets spring to mind. It's anyway, let's move on before I upset anybody too much in Berwick or anywhere else. And as we spin round again, the campsite, the Haven Holiday Home campsite in Berwick there comes into view. Now this again is rather interesting because this is actually an old military base, and anyone that's into conspiracy theories will know that golf courses, oh, there's a golf course just in front of it as well, will know that land that's owned by the military or got a golf course on it has got a lot to hide underneath. Interestingly, this Haven Holiday Home Park is in the shape of a maple leaf, which we could possibly say is, I don't know, it might have been a full 5-pointed star. And as I pointed out on one of my previous videos, there's actually a trench that appears to run from the entrance area of the holiday home park to bastion number 3. And again, I feel that this would be something to do with the water and the reservoir that was there. So as we move around, we'll see the golf course comes more into view, and bastion number 3 and its sluice windows and the actual sluice chamber. And as we pan down here, we'll see the sluice windows and the sluice chamber, which looks like a little cup there at the bottom of this picture. And as you can see, my motorhome there is 8.2 meters long. So that chamber is a good 10 meters. It's quite a big chamber where they hid their cannons. Yeah, sorry. But yeah. And again, as I say, that's 200 meters from the back of the sluice chamber to the back of the sluice chamber on number 3 there. And then with almost the right angle wall here down, it's probably more like 100 degrees rather than, or 110 degrees rather than 90 degrees. As we move down south from bastion number 3, as you can see, more golf course and the Cromwellian church and the barracks, the square barracks. Now, I'm gonna go and do a little video from just in front of the barracks to show you what I was talking about when I showed the images of the groundworks as it were. There's a lot of what they would call now groundwork on the floor, which I firmly believe that there is more walls, more to this structure. So standing between Bastion 4 and Bastion 5 on top of the wall now. I'll pan round and show you. This is currently a recreational area. There's a children's playground there, but look at the size of those groundworks in front of it, and that's like a point in the middle. And I'm going to do a full 360 here for you. So that's Bastion number 5. And then as I turn around, I'm standing on top of the wall, as I say, we're looking back towards Berwick now. That's Lion House and the Gunpowder magazine in the foreground. So I sweep past it. Sorry for the speed on that. I might slow this down. But yeah, so that was it. And I'm going to do now, this is, like I say, the map, or the 3D LiDAR, just showing, again, where we're stood, and the layout of the groundworks in front of us, which I've highlighted here. As I say, I believe Bastion 5 went on and extended out to a lost Bastion number 6, and the wall would have gone further round and the rivers all moved. But as we sweep round again, I'll let you just take another look there. Like I say, pinnacle, point in the middle. It's like the middle island of the green lines that I was drawing, and there's just so much stuff that we're missing there. So from there, we actually ended up walking down to the quayside, and as earlier I showed you the picture of the wall. Those keen-eyed of you might have noticed that the door in the wall, is to keep the sea out. And let's put a door here. Anyway, moving on. As we went through the door, we came to this little passage, and this was what greeted us in front of us. This archway, this sort of walk through, it's not even 6 foot tall. I'd have hit my head. Jill would have hit her head on it as well. And this is the one end of a little, like I say, little run, a little passageway, and it's all very small at this end, and the doors are sort of like less than 5 foot or less, these blue doors. But as we go up this passageway, the doors at the other end are, well, they're tall enough for, definitely for a 9 foot, and maybe even slightly taller, but definitely a 9 foot person door, that one. And if you notice just in the brickwork to the side of Jill here, there's actually an arch for another construction, another doorway or a window or something. And also note the step that she's standing on has been adjusted. I don't think that this is natural wear. They tell us that this is natural wear, these steps. I had a whole set. I've got a whole set in the cellar where we live here now, and out of 9 steps, the top 3 were worn, the middle 3 were perfectly square, and the bottom 3 were worn. And it's like, oops, they forgot to do the middle 3, or someone put them in upside down or something. But that's another story. But no, I don't believe that this is natural wear on the step. And just a little bit of a close up there for you, and you can see it should be square, and it's not. And I think that's by design, not by normal natural wear or anything else. So Lion House, as we saw on when I did the 360 there, I believe was where Lowry stayed. And here's an interesting thing. Here is a very interesting thing. And as I've said this before in my previous videos, Lowry comes in. Lowry is renowned for painting matchstick men and matchstick cats and dogs, as we know. But renowned for painting crowds, for painting people. Now, think about that one. If you've got an empty town that you've just found and you're just uncovering it, and you call the photographer in and you rent a crowd, all the masons, Freemasons, their wives, the families, they all come and stand. Well, not any of them had family, but anyway, they all come and stand in the photo for you, and they're all these photos, late 1800s. They're all staged by men in bowler hats and smart. They've got the Sunday best on, and it's like it's rent-a-mob. They've just turned up, populated the picture, and then right, move on. And now if you've got Lowry comes along, he'll start painting it, and he can paint the people in. They don't even need to be there. So instead of hiring 100 men for the day, you're only hiring one man for the day. Lowry is your man. And it's there you go. Anyway, so this is what they tell us on this little plaque at the end of this little road here, and I'll just read it out to you for you.
L.S. Lowry, 1887 to 1976, one of Britain's best-loved painters, was especially fond of Berwick-upon-Tweed. He visited the town many times from the mid-1930s until the summer before he died. He would stay in the Castle Hotel, but he thought about buying a house on the Elizabethan walls. The Berwick-Lowry Trail identifies the sites of many of his finest paintings and drawings of the town and allows you to follow in his footsteps. Dewars Lane. Dewars Lane, 1936, pencil drawing. Dewars Lane is an alleyway of medieval origin. Over the centuries, heavy cartwheels have cut deep grooves in its sets. The building on your right with its drunken, leaning wall is an 18th-century granary, rebuilt after a fire around 1815. With its many windows it resembles the mills in Lowry's more familiar industrial scenes. Lowry sketched the lane twice. In this version, by including an inquisitive child who has wandered in alone, and looks up at the intimidating buildings on either side, he has introduced an air of menace into the scene. The location already contained his favorite subject of an archway, but he introduced an imaginary flagpole, a smoking chimney and some railings. La Rue des Chantres by Charles Merrion, 1821 to 1868, Lowry owned a volume of the strangely disturbing, dreamlike etchings of Old Paris by the French printmaker, Charles Merrion. Merrion's portrayal of the Rue des Chantres is remarkably similar to the view from beneath the archway in Dewars Lane looking towards Bridge Street, and the town hall with the granary on your left. Postcard of Dewars Lane. When this photograph was taken early last century, the granary was still in use. The buildings on the opposite side of the lane and the nearby 17th-century Bridge Tavern had not been demolished. The lane resembled a dark, sunless canyon.
And there you go. So Lowry actually stayed at the Castle Hotel, we're told, which is outside the city walls, but all the paintings are done inside the city walls. Moving on, we eventually got back to the motorhome, and we found 3 motorhomes had joined us, and we met the occupants, who suggested that Hawick was a good place to go to, especially as it had some services and free parking for motorhomes. And so we thought that this was a good idea to go to Hawick. Interestingly, when we got to Hawick, they have a wonderful council building. So I sent the drone up to go and investigate, and so this there is the council building. Again, these buildings are not built for 6-foot tall people. They're nearer the 9-foot or maybe even 12-foot, but probably the 9-foot. The towers I find quite interesting. They put me in mind of like I don't know, a Bavarian tower maybe. Sort of the little towers on the turrets on the top of the tower in the corners. Just sort of, I don't know, it gives me that air of that. So, as I say, I sent the drone up and had a little fly around. And then, as we'll see, the locals decided that maybe they didn't like my drone and started maybe seeing it as a threat here. So there's two locals, as you'll see them again in a minute, very close up. So this is Hawick Town Hall, I believe this is, with its clock faces and bell tower. Oh, and there goes the local again. And so I thought maybe it'd be a good idea as they come past again to return to base, which, as you can see, is actually fairly central to the town. And they offer this free parking in the hopes that you will go and use the amenities, which we gladly did. And we stocked up. We went to the local butcher, and very nice haggis we had from there, and his own family recipes of sausages, which we took away and had over the next few evenings while we were travelling further north. So this is Hawick and the river, and this is the car park, which is all free. And I say just behind the middle motorhome there on the right is a little brown fenced off area where you've got we topped up on fresh water, and we were also able to empty our cartridge from our toilet. So the town hall wasn't the only interesting building. As I say, there's very interesting buildings around, and this is street level of the town hall, and looking up to that impressive tower. And yes, we did. We used the facilities. We shopped. We ate, and yes, it was very pleasant. And I would highly recommend stopover in Hawick if you're definitely in the motorhome market. And so after our overnight stop in Hawick, we headed off, and we thought we'd head to Edinburgh. And so we set off, and yes, we did venture into the centre of Edinburgh. On the whole, I didn't find Edinburgh very hospitable towards us motorhomers. They basically didn't allow for any parking in the city, and not even in the tourist areas. We tried to stop at car park at Holyrood Park, and were basically given a leaflet telling us where to go, as in a campsite outside of the city. If we wanted to park, just even if we wanted to park to go shopping, we just weren't made welcome there at all. And we even tried down at Portobello Beach as well, where we had been told that there was a possible parking area, an overnight area even, we could use for the motorhome, but that was all basically blocked off, and we were offered a truck parking facility, and so we decided to move on. I mean, even on the approach to Edinburgh, we actually passed a park and ride, but the park and ride itself had a 2.1 metre height restriction to enter, so we're 2.8 metres tall and 8.2 long. So basically, we found that Edinburgh wasn't welcoming to anybody in a motorhome, and so we made a quick exit out of there. And in the end, we found ourselves in a lovely, quiet little village on the side of the Forth estuary, called Blackness. So, as darkness descended on Blackness, we tucked into our haggis and we had a very pleasant evening on the side of the river, on the side of the estuary. We had quite a few visitors that evening, though, because they were all wanting to see the Northern Lights, which apparently had been very bright the night before. However, the overcast weather, etc., etc., you just never see them, do you? So we didn't actually see the Northern Lights. And that's where I'm going to leave this video today. I'm going to do the rest of it, obviously, but I feel that this is long enough for you to have watched, and thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of our journey around Scotland. See you next time. And there you go. Please like, subscribe, and share my videos. Thanks.